Hello. Today I'm filming in a different spot because my neighbors are having a get-together and you can hear them from my room and they can probably hear me, and I don't want them to think I'm weirder than what they already probably think I am. Just kidding, I am fabulous and nobody thinks I'm weird in any way, shape, or form. Hello, my people. It's almost the new year. It is officially the time to thank our meat husks for getting us through 2019. So, as the new year approaches, it is a time to restart, refresh, and reorganize. All three things I am a big fan of. I'll be talking to you about the ways I'm preparing for the new year and maybe give you some ideas on how you can help yourself be better organized in the upcoming year. So the first thing I did, which took me almost a full day and I'm still not done with, is digital decluttering. With the rise of Marie Kondo and minimalism, people are becoming more aware of their physical clutter. But oftentimes our tablets, desktops, and phones are left to sort of be cluttered, and we don't really care for digitally decluttering, which I'd say is just as important as physical decluttering. We keep unnecessary photos, notes, and tabs that we have no use for. I am personally notorious for the last one. I kept so many tabs that I reached the limit amount. I didn't even know there was a limit. So what I did was I went through the apps I use most regularly and sort of implemented new organizational systems so that they don't get cluttered as easily. And I also got rid of all the junk I had stored in those apps. So on the Pages app, for example, I separated my documents by putting different tags on them. Like, for example, if something's from biology class, I'll put biology in parentheses before the title of the essay or the report so that I can easily search for it. There are also ways to add tags, but I just thought it would be simpler this way. You can do whatever way works for you. Also, things that could be in the same document and didn't have to have their own separate document, I consolidated into a single document, so I didn't have such an abundance of similar documents that didn't really bring much to the table. For example, I put old half-written stories and story ideas on the same document, and I just separated them with different titles so that if I wanted to search for them, I could inside that document, but I wouldn't have all those separate stories, which were like 18 or 20. I might be exaggerating, who knows, but they were a lot of stories. Then, of course, I deleted the unnecessary things. I did the same with email. I created different folders for each type of email that I needed to keep and got rid of what I didn't need to keep. And surprise, surprise, I discovered something new as well. I didn't know that there was an illustration whenever you were done sorting through your emails and there was nothing left in your inbox. I swear that illustration gave me so much joy and satisfaction, especially paired with those words, "You're all done." For my search engine, I just went ahead and cleared all the tabs by deleting my search history because I sure as heck was not sorting through 500 tabs. If you're afraid that there's a bunch of really important stuff in your tabs, just sort through them manually. Don't delete your search history. You could also just click on the tab button for a prolonged period of time and an option will pop up to delete all your tabs. So if you don't want to delete your search history, but you do want to delete your tabs, you could also do that. Honestly, who needs 500 tabs? You probably did not let it get as bad as I did. Even though I'd say I'm fairly clean in real life, I'm like pretty decluttered. Digitally, I am not the best example because the same thing was true for my YouTube account. My watch later had so much clutter, so many unnecessary videos on there, and I just sorted through them by either watching them or realizing that they weren't worth my time and deleting them, or sorting them into playlists. Like, usually I would like the ones that I was like, oh yeah, I watch this, and I just kept it here to remind myself that this video exists. I also sorted through my subscriptions and deleted the people that I'm subscribed to that I no longer really vibe with. I also deleted all my unnecessary notes and reminders and moved them to my agenda, which will probably be a much better home for them because I don't check my reminders on my phone that often. And also, my agenda is already a fairly good agenda. One of my New Year's resolutions is to make more use of the agenda because although I have such a great one, sometimes I end up cluttering my digital space, just trying to remind myself of things, and I already have such a great planner, so it's kind of unnecessary. So far, I have not added a single video to my watch later since clearing it out completely, so I'm hoping it stays that way. Then came photos, and that was actually surprisingly the easiest to work with. Probably because when I do on a regular basis do digital decluttering, it is mostly focused on my camera roll, so I didn't have that much camera roll clutter to begin with. I also organized the app I use for drawing. It's also the one I use for designing my thumbnails. It's called Procreate, would recommend, 10 out of 10. I also deleted unnecessary conversations and messages. I think those are the main ones. If you frequently use other apps, I would suggest you just going through everything and finding stuff that you can delete and reorganize in the apps that you use in your day-to-day life. And I would also recommend that you go through your apps and you delete actual apps. It's a pretty lengthy and tedious process, I'm not gonna lie, but it'll definitely be worth it in the end. So hand in hand with this process comes finding an organizational system that works for you, not just in the apps, but outside of the apps, in your regular day-to-day life. How do you want to organize your time and your thoughts in a way that makes it easier and more manageable for you? It's important to find an organizational system that works with you, not against you, even if it's as simple as making a to-do list. This upcoming year, I'm actually going to be experimenting with using a wall calendar along with my agenda so that my most important dates can be clearer and I'm less likely to miss the really important stuff, especially now after I've applied to college. They require that you have certain documents so that you can actually get into the college. And later on, I might make a video of myself setting up my passion planner and my organizational system for this upcoming year. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments down below. In terms of simplifying the way I look at content and keep track of the content that I want to consume, I've made an actual mega list that says all of the shows and all of the video games I want to play and all of the movies I want to watch in a specific space so that I don't have, for example, my watch later playlist cluttering my mind or my watch list on Netflix. And that way it's easier if I'm feeling like consuming some form of content. I can look at that and find something that perhaps has been on my list for a really long time and consume that instead of just falling down the rabbit hole of random videos on YouTube, which is what often ends up happening to me. Right now my list is not looking thick, but I imagine it will grow over the year. Along with this list, I also made 3 other lists that I think will really help me out in the upcoming year. And so the first one has all my goals for the new year. I'm not going to show it on the screen since it has a lot of personal details, but basically the way it's broken down is that there are 6 sections: wellness, fitness, art, YouTube, general/experiences, and school. And I just broke my goals up into those separate categories just so it was easier to find the ones that I'm looking for. In contrast to the other list that I mentioned, she actually is quite thick. Like, it takes up almost a full page in my passion planner, which is a tad bit excessive probably, but you know, the sky's the limit. I'm just gonna set as many goals as I can and try and achieve as many of them as I can, and if I don't, well then, whatever. I have the rest of my life to try and achieve those things, even though you never know when your life is gonna end, so take this as a sign to get on whatever you want to do and achieve what you are dreaming of right now. My other list is just things I want to get done before the year is up. Then the other list is related to my 30-day mindfulness challenge. It is a list of all my core beliefs and values that I want to hold closer to me and stick by. Hopefully that'll help me align myself better with my values in the upcoming year. Even though I imagine some of y'all would be hecka tired after writing all of those lists, if you still have some gas in your tank, then I suggest, and I think the most important thing, is to make a journal entry reflecting on 2019 and everything that the year has brought you. How have you changed? What are you grateful for? I think gratefulness is so important, and sometimes it can get neglected. If you are artistically inclined, then another way to do this instead of actually journaling about 2019 is making an art piece or a video on your experience throughout 2019. It's really helpful to document how you're feeling as you go through life, just because then when you're older you can always reflect back on those things. It's a nice little nugget of your present that your future can look back on and be like, oh, that was my past. I hope you guys have a great new year. If you liked, drop a like down below. If you want to see more where this came from, you can subscribe. If your heart so pleases, then feel free to drop a comment down below. All those YouTube things. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Probably because whenever three, did you see that? 3. If you have the sheer perseverance, tablets and desktops and